show's called Weekend Fix. It's on the Esquire network, and well, the show came about from my real life travels with my real life friend Andres and Izquieta. He's a fashion designer, and one year we went to Brazil for New Year's, had a blast, and based on the way that people reacted to me internationally, we were like, wow, this is really, really interesting. And then following that, we went to Tokyo, and when we went to Tokyo, same international reaction, that was berserk. And then on top of that, we got lost because we find ourselves in these places where we don't speak the language, and the only thing that we have to help us out is our phones.
We were literally using our phones to search and discover everything, and we had an unbelievable experience one night at a Korean barbecue place in Tokyo, and the next morning we laughed at the experience and said, like, yo, when we're together we always do some crazy stuff. We just randomly said, hey, it would be really cool if we did a show that was a travel show where we actually showed you how we search and discover things on screen.
We use our apps and maps and all of that stuff to get around, and he's like the navigator extraordinaire. And so we were like, wow, how cool would it be if you could put a camera on this and people could experience this with us, because I'm sure we're not the only ones traveling like this.
I'm definitely more sarcastic, and Omar is more like the life of the party. So I think that kind of yin and yang really works. And physically we look so different, obviously, so that's kind of funny. And also I think, but we share a lot of common thread, and we like to talk about the same things.
You can speak with your friends in a way that's much more straight talk than you can with some professionals. And yet at other times, because we speak in straight talk, we have arguments. But we're real friends, so that's what happens, and then, you know, we talk it out and we get together. And definitely I wouldn't have been able to do the show without him.
What was great about the show is that no episode is alike. So literally every episode has its own theme. We went to the place where they made a lot of the work for Burning Man, like the light installation. So that was very interesting to learn the idea from conception to finish. Another interesting thing was actually in Washington, D.C., we went to this place called Dram and Grain that was extremely interesting. The way that Trevor Fry's his name, the way that he makes his cocktails has such an art form to it that I'd never seen anything that intense.
And we did this thing in Montreal that was urban beekeeping, and it was so awesome, where there's actually on the roof of the Fairmont Hotel where John Lennon and Yoko Ono did their sleep in, there's an apiculturist, and it's urban beekeeping, and you get to learn about the importance of bees for the environment and so on. So the show, it has been as informative for me as it will be for the audience, and I really appreciate that, because that's part of traveling that I love.
What I really love about the city the most, though, is the diversity in culture. Since there's so many people from around the world because of politics that come to DC, I think it makes it such a unique and special place that...
I love DC. I never get to stay here for long enough. I'm always in and out, but every time I come, it's such a good time. It's such a great international city. It's diverse. There's multiple languages being spoken all the time, which means that the food culture is diverse. We just had a really good time and got to see a different side, not just the sights and the monuments. You know, we got to really get in there and find some undercover stuff.
And that's the one thing that definitely stuck out to me in DC, that you see so many different types of people and are exposed to so many different types of culture here that it makes it so special. The show plays every Wednesday night on Esquire Network. It's called Weekend Fix, 10 p.m., 9 Central Standard Time. You gotta go see the show. It's like nothing you've seen on TV. Basically, if you want to watch a show and go on a wild ride for 30 minutes, this is the show for you.